I'm free to be me, it's what you see in my energy. I'm real with myself, I don't conform to society. I'm free to be me, it's the only way for me to stay true to my identity. I'm free to be me, I'm a person of integrity, something that's not recognized in society. I'm free to be me, it's the only way for me. It's the key to my serenity, conform to social norm. I'm doing me, I'm working to become the best version I can be, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Don't you see, it's the recipe to live happily, joyfully, peacefully. I live with myself, I deal with myself, I'm real with myself. Don't worry about nobody else. So don't you see I'm okay with me? It's what you see in my energy. It's not about popularity. Yeah, cause I'm free to be me. It's what you see in my energy. I'm real with myself, I don't conform to society. I'm free to be me, it's the only way for me. It's the key to my serenity. I'm free to be me, I'm a person of integrity, something that's not recognized in society. I'm free to be me, it's the only way for me. It's the key to my serenity. I'm a person of integrity, something that's not recognized in society. I'm free to be me, it's the only way for me. Stay true to my identity. I'm free to be me. Yeah, cause I'm free to be me. Yeah, cause I'm free to be me. Hey, hey, it's the key to my identity. I'm free to be me, it's what you see in my energy. I'm real with myself, I don't What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Transparent Table Talk, a place where we speak about life from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. The whole purpose of the show is to let people know that we all go through the same things, and there is no need to live in shame and blame and struggle with the little voice in your head that nobody hears. You guys, make sure you all go over to bougiewild.com and check out the Bougiewild motivational teas. Without the support of you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Also, I know you all have seen all of the posts I've made, the text messages, the tags, the inbox. I am running for Face of America. And you guys, I'm going to be honest, and y'all know I speak from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. I want to win. I want to win, y'all. I want to win. I want to be the face of America. I am the face of America. So let's get into tonight's show with our guest. You guys, I'm excited to introduce Miss Jenny Lee. Jenny is a teacher of 20 years. She is inspired to help women be aware of their own well-being after a realization of her own lack of self-care had to put her in a on the wrong path. After a few taxing life events, years of self-separation, postpartum depression, and divorce, life directed her on a path of self-care and self-discovery. She uncovered her connection to happiness and inspiration through her morning routines and self-care embodiment. Jenny is now on a journey of guiding others to heal and reconnect with their dignified and highest selves through joyful morning rituals and self care. You guys, let's welcome Jenny Lee to Transparent Table Talk. Hi.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Hi. Welcome to Transparent Table Talk. Thank you so much for being a guest this evening. What would you like to add to that awesome introduction? Where are you from, Jenny?
I am based in West Hartford, Connecticut. Um, but I actually grew up, so it's really interesting when people ask me where I'm from. Used to be, I would be sensitive about this. It's like, what does it matter where I'm from? Don't I sound like American enough to you? I speak, good enough English to you that you don't have to ask me where I'm from just because it's the way I look.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting, but that was because I grew up in Indonesia as Chinese, and there's like always this distinct difference physically between
Mm-hmm.
the Chinese and the local Indonesians. It's like I have smaller eyes, I'm a little lankier, and like I have a little for skin, and so I was always more distinctive, and we could just kind of point out, you're not one of us, basically. And so growing up, it kind of formed like this kind of, okay, maybe it could be a rejection, and like I never really belong anywhere, and so it's like, I mean, I understand people's fascination, towards anybody who looks different. Who looks different. But I guess, like I had my own like sensitivity and experience, but I'm healing, and instead of like taking in like, okay, like why'd you ask me that? Am I not one of you? Like, am I not enough? It's more like, okay, you're fascinated with me, and thank you for being curious about me. So it's a part of healing, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, it's
Right. Can you hear me clearly?
I
Because it
hear.
seems like you're breaking up. You're breaking up really
Oh,
bad.
am I really?
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. I hear you. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if it's my phone. Well, you know what? Let me rephrase my question. Where were you coming from tonight? Because I like to tell my guests where we're coming from, like on the show, to let them know where we're reaching and that the show is reaching different areas, so that they are just aware, so that they're just aware. But I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it, Jenny. I totally get it. Just growing up in a society that points out our differences rather than acknowledging that we're all the same. I get it. I promise you, I get it. So, Jenny, what brought you to Transparent Table Talk today?
I actually find the description of your show to be different and authentic. And wow, it's really interesting. So you're talking about like you being silent about, right? And that's hurting you. I'm actually on this journey where I felt like there are still like so many pieces of me that I'm, like learning to accept little by little. And there's like sometimes, there's like some kind of shame, but because I'm already on the healing journey and I'm aware of it, and I'm like, I catch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it made me, so your show actually makes me curious of like, what else am I being silent about that I did not know? And I think a lot of us we had, right? So that's what attracted to it. It's like, that silence and, things that we probably still have about us. You okay?
Our connection is horrible. I don't know.
Yeah. Can you hear me though?
I can hear you, but it's like an echo, and yeah. This is the first time it ever happened, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. Y'all just bear with us tonight because we're gonna get through this conversation. We're gonna have this conversation. We're gonna have this conversation. So yeah, we're gonna work through it tonight. So yeah, I get it. Like I said, that's the reason why I created the show. Is we've never had that platform or just that group of people that's willing to come forward, total strangers, and have this conversation. And I've been going out here in the world having it for a while now, talking to different people, and I have learned that we are all struggling with the same thing. Like during your introduction, when you talk about self-healing and the daily routine and on this journey, since starting the show, I've learned that the guests that's coming forward, we're on that same frequency. We're there.
So when you ask me why I was attracted to the show, maybe that's why. Because we're on the same frequency.
Yeah, we're on the same frequency.
Because like when like what on the bio there, like when like on the journey of helping to heal others, the only person that I'm healing is actually me. And as I am helping to heal others, I'm healing myself, right? And it is like through my service to others, I'm giving myself service.
Yes.
And that's automatic. That's why we're here. And whatever journey that causes, all that pain and all that, it puts us on that path of healing ourselves. So then we can heal others too. That's what I find consistent.
I totally agree. That's the reason why I speak from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place. Because when I had my revelation and realized that I had been suffering from the conditioning, like the hurt, a lot of it comes from the conditioning, and that is the upbringing, the environment, the experience. And once I realized, like, oh my God, I've been operating on airplane mode out of hurt. The only thing that helps heal me, like you said, that is the reason why I talk about it. Because I say, why nobody don't have these conversations?
Yeah, exactly. No, we have this conversation because I feel that so from the culture I grew up in, when I talk about what bothers me, or if I talk about all the traumatic experiences that I had growing up, that would be airing dirty laundry, and there's like a lot of shame in that. So when you're expressing yourself in any way, right? Because our true self is just like the purest, like whatever that is, like no matter how ugly the society thinks it is, that's the truth. But certain culture, when things are supposed to be uniform, when it's all supposed to be the same, when it's like in certain boxes, when it's out of box, that is shame. That's dirty laundry. Or at least that's how I grew up. So it's really difficult to even acknowledge that I need to talk about that, because then I would retract and feel shame. And okay, just like to keep the peace, to keep harmony, I should probably just forget it and just bury it, bury under the rug, kind of. So, well, I'm get it.
Jenny, that is the American way. That we live impressive on the outside, but we are oppressed behind closed doors. And it's not just your culture. That is the social norm. That is the cultural norm. Don't talk about it. If you talk about it, you're airing the dirty laundry. If you talk about it, you're breaking outside the box. So when you said that keyword box, Bougiewild, the brand means can't be boxed. I'm free to be
Love
me.
it.
So that's the reason why I don't have conversations before the show. Because I want to show that we are all experiencing the same thing. It doesn't matter our nationality, our culture, our color, our background. This what we're going through. The reason why the show was created was to show people that we all are experiencing this. It had, and that's what letting us know we all are the same. We the
Mm,
same.
you just made that point. Oh my God, Yolanda, I love it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for making that point. Yes, we are. And at this, yeah, of course, we all have certain things that we seem to be ashamed of, but like why should that be a shame, right? When
Right.
all we want is to be loved, right? All we want is to connect,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, all those parts that became that are trained, that we train to be, something to be ashamed of, like parts are the parts that need love the most, right? It's like, yeah, that part, that was bullied or that was suppressed, that part that wants to come out the most, but you never really let it, you never allow it. And
Right.
that's the part that needs love most, and that's with everybody in every culture, just like you said.
Every person.
I love it. Yeah, so tell me, like one piece of dirty laundry.
Right. So about me, I grew up in a poverty mindset, uneducated. My mom, uneducated, single mom. By the time I was 14 years old, I was pregnant. By the time I was 17 years old, I had 2 children. I was a high school dropout. And I've been on my own since I've been 15 years old. So transparent table talk is something I'm very passionate about because I share my life from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place to show people we all go through things. We've all experienced that hurt. And like you said, society wants to put us in a box and they don't want us to talk about it and be our true selves. I don't know if you listened to the song in the beginning that I'm free to be me. It's what you see in
Love
my
it.
energy.
Yeah, that's your jam. Did you sing that? Oh my gosh, I love it. That's like the best.
Yes. And so I'm out here using myself as that example to give people permission to say, you know what, I'm gonna be me. I'm not gonna allow what I've been through to cause me to live in bondage. And that love that you're talking about, I'm going to love myself because we were not taught to love ourselves. I think about, oh my God, I got pregnant at 14 years old. Where was I mentally? And I'm 45 years old now. And in the last couple of years, I just learned to love myself. And it does take a daily practice because when you push control alt delete or when you reboot a computer, it defaults back to its original programming, right? So the same with our minds. And so I made a decision to live more aware. And so I'm out having conversations that I wish somebody would have had with me. I'm speaking up for the people that are younger than me because I see myself as an elder now. I have a 30-year-old son. I have a 28-year-old son, Jenny. I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son.
Look at.
And so that's what I'm doing. I'm out here. I'm giving what I wish I would have had, that I wish an adult would have sat down and explained to me that, In life, you're going to go through things. It's going to be an ugly place, but you don't have to accept that darkness. You don't have to allow that darkness to dim your light. You know, we were born into sin. We were innocent children. We were born. But then the world get a hold of us. We go to school, they make fun of us, they put us in a school, they compare us against each other. So by the time we are adults, we really don't even know who we are. We are afraid of rejection and we have a need to fit in. But to be our true self, what does that mean? What's wrong with you to be your true self? So now we are suppressing who we truly are to fit into a box, because before you break out the box, we conform subconsciously, because we are conditioned to whatever the norm is. That's from a religious aspect, that's from a social aspect, that's from a cultural aspect. But wait a minute, you all put all of these jackets on me, but because I'm different, because I want to stand up and be authentically me, something's wrong with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now I got to struggle with the little voice in my head that nobody hears, to be a version on the outside. But I'm dealing with this little voice in my head that nobody hears, that nobody want to talk about. You crazy. Instead of teaching me to train the little voice in my head, to train it to live good, to feel good, to do good, to know good for myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So once I realized this, I said, I can't keep this to myself. I'm going to speak about this from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. Because before I was a people pleaser, I worked, afraid of rejection,
Yeah.
did things to fit in. I was of the world with the competition, the condemnation, the comparison. I've done the world. And now that I can see how the conditioning causes us to suffer, really, right? Because we're working so hard to be a version on the outside, but we being oppressed and we're being double-minded, right? But
Mm-hmm.
nobody's talking about it.
I love it, Yolanda. No, nobody's talking about that. Exactly. It's like who are you really? What do you really want? What are your desires really? It's like that voice, that little voice in your head. Okay, that could either be, sometimes I do wonder. Like I have that too. Sometimes I do wonder, is it like maybe like pride? It's okay. That little part of me that's crying to be heard, that's crying to be loved, right? Or it could be like, this part of conditioning, because it's my fear, right? Because like I was so used to fitting in and people pleasing, and when I get out a little bit out of track, okay, this is wrong, right? I get a little bit out of my box. I get back to my box.
Right.
Right? Yeah, that was me for years, right? Suppressing my own authenticity. Religion. I grew up Catholic, and I went to Catholic schools. In Indonesia, I grew up in among conservative Muslims, and my family is considered Chinese, so there is no authenticity there. You're supposed to live your life this way, be a woman, and this is how you're supposed to behave, right? Straight back, feminine, be marriageable, and you're not supposed to be climbing the gate. You're not supposed to be climbing trees, or you'd bring shame to the family. You're not supposed to be riding the bike, because then because you can hurt your hymen and you might not be virgin anymore to be marriageable. Like all that crazy stuff.
Right.
Catholicism, right? That's telling you that you have worth, right? You're a sinner. You're born a sinner, and like, wow, all these things that like suppresses your worth as the divine being, right? You forget your your being. You forget the divine that you are. And interestingly, I just had this conversation, and well, not conversation. I was so I have had this idea of like taking pictures of me that are like sensual, like because yes, that is a part of me, right? It's like how as society, like especially my culture that I grew up in, I don't identify with any culture anymore at this point. Like yeah, because I don't want to be labeled as anything. So
Right.
yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why somebody asks, where are you from? Well, I grew up here, I'm based here, but I don't really belong to any culture, right?
I tell people I'm an American, honey. I'm an American. That's all you need to know. I'm an American.
Sure, whatever that is. I have my passport, like
Right,
that's
right.
what you want to know. Sure. But it's like this the like for every woman, like every woman's nature is to be just sexual, feminine, sensual. That's like who we are. Like look at our bodies. Like what
Right.
we are, right? But then it has to be oppressed. It has to be suppressed to fit in, right? To appropriate, right? But you know what? All of us come from sex. Why is it something to be ashamed of, right? And so it's like, oh, if I show a little skin, and right, because I am proud of my arms, you're such a slut, right? Oh,
right.
I like my legs. Let me put on some shorts. You're such a slut,
Right.
Like, that's the culture I'm in, right? And so it's like, okay, you need to be appropriate because say you're a mother, you're a woman of
Right.
like you're
Right.
like I know who I am.
Right.
Like, every skin, every inch of my skin is me. And like if you've come to that place where you've accepted yourself who you are, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Like then why are you projecting your shame on me?
And I agree. I agree. And basically, I struggle with that in having to defend who I am. And the reason why, like, that's how Bougiewild came about, is because people don't understand. I am a professional. I take care of my responsibilities. I take care of my household. I am a mother. But when I go out and I'm having a good time,
oh yeah, girl, I want to see that.
I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna have fun. Like, the reality is, like you said, society don't want you to be yourself. Society want you to act a certain way and fit into a certain box. And what is wrong with us having balance? What is wrong with me being myself? Because we no longer can go to the playground. So when we're out with other adults and we're having our wine, and why we can't just have fun?
Right? Yeah. There needs to be some kind of judgment for especially women having fun, right? Nobody criticizes like some men like getting out having fun, like shooting birds,
Right.
get drunk at a bar. It's like, oh, you're so manly for doing that. But
Right.
woman, there's just so much judgment.
Right.
I'm glad that you are here in the show and you're addressing that, because there's really no reason that like you got to call that out.
Right.
Why is it not okay?
Right. It's not okay. It's not. And it's because of the social norm, right? It's because of the social norm. The same way, like you said, the way you were raised in your culture, the way, it was norm for you to do a certain thing. Well, I'm grateful that I was able to live outside the box and then conform to the pattern of my world. Because in the word it says, do not conform to the pattern of the world, because a lot of the conditioning causes us frustration when we are judging people. It causes us to have biases when we are judging people, thereby struggling with the little voice in our head that nobody hears, right? Because these things that was programmed in us that we're here. Oh, she shouldn't dress like that. Oh, that's a slut. Oh, she's this and she's that. This is the little voice. This is the programming that was put into our minds that had nothing to do with us. And I use the analogy as the phone. When we get the phone, it has the basic call, it has a calculator, a clock, messenger, but everything else we download on the
Mhm.
phone, right?
Yeah.
And the phone operates based on what we download. Well, that same thing's happening to our mind. And that's the reason why transparent table talk is present. It's because I'm saying, let's talk about life from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. Let's talk about this vulnerability from a vulnerable place of what we're really struggling with based on our conditioning. And when are we going to wake up from it? Because it's causing us irritation, aggravation, and frustration, chaos, discord, and conflict, because we are allowing ourselves to be just like the phone. Let's go to Facebook. Let's go to Instagram. Let's go to TikTok. These are things that we program on the phone, and the phone is going to do because that's what we downloaded the phone to do. So it's time for us to wake up and realize that we got to live our own true self without fear of rejection and the need to fit in.
Yes. There's nobody fits in. When you're true to yourself, when you're true to your shape, nothing really fits with anything. Everything just dance together. you know, it's not about like fitting in. Okay, the whole world could probably just be a puzzle, and maybe, but for us to get along, we dance together. Right? We accept each other. That's from my experience, that's what it is, because most of my friends, the ones that I resonate with now, we all come from different grounds, different beliefs, but then when we're together, we're just present and enjoying each other's essence. We're just being ourselves, and when they are authentic, and like trying to be someone else, it's like, oh, let me do this. I look perfect. Like, are you kidding me? Don't do that, right? It's like, we want the real you.
You're right.
Because we want to enjoy who are.
You're right.
Not because you try to be something else. Like, what is that? So yeah. Thank you for that point. Exact authenticity.
Right. And what it is we were ourselves before the world got a hold of us. You said you are a teacher.
Yeah.
You see children, you see people in their true, authentic version of themselves before the world get a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
When we're children, we express ourselves. We
Yeah.
tell you if you hurt our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
We express what it is and who it is, and our emotions. But the world starts shaming us. Oh, you a crybaby, or you did this. Oh, look how she acted. And so, like you said, by the time we become adults, that's the reason why we don't even know how to have healthy relationships, because we don't even know how to have a true relationship with ourselves. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
the world have twisted and turned and conformed us to where the person who we were born into,
Yeah.
we've lost them.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is interesting. I had this conversation with another podcaster. Her name is Jenny too, Jenny Town, and we were talking about communication, right? And something I learned in the past was this inability for me to communicate. But and that kind of like broke down my relationships with everybody, including with my ex-husband. And it was because I was not able to communicate with him what I needed, right? But why do you think we are not able to communicate? That is because like from we're young, we were told what we should want. We were told what we should be, right? We were told like you can't cry. Oh, you wanted this, you can't have it because all of these reasons, right? And so you grew up like okay, just suppressing what you really need, suppressing what you really wanted, and then you forget what you want, you forget what you need, you forget who you really are. That's like this thing, right? And so it's like at some point in your adulthood, what you really need, you don't even know, right? Like when you can't know what you need, how are you supposed to communicate others what you need? Because you can't even communicate with yourself. Because in order for you to communicate with other people, you first need to communicate with yourself. You first need to know yourself. You first need to know what you want, what you need. Then from there, right? Oh, I am so tired. I'm so exhausted. I need somebody to say, watch the baby so I could go outside and refresh and rejuvenate for a little bit, right? But even then, when I was still married, I did not know how to do that because I just didn't know what I wanted, And at some point, as everything just kind of bubbled up, it exploded into tantrums, into bad temper, and then everybody thought that I was a bitch. But that was just because it was an accumulation of me not knowing who I am, not knowing what I wanted, and it just became like this unexpressed emotion, unexpressed grief that blew up in everybody else's faces. And that was the end of the relationships for a lot of people, like for me at least. And so through that, that's why I got to the journey of knowing who I am, right? Of knowing who I really want. And I think the biggest thing is knowing who I really am, that I've forgotten because it had been suppressed by society standard and rules and codes and whatever. That's not me, right? Everything that was really me was like locked into a box. and I only got to learn about myself when I stepped out of that society, when I stepped out of that expectation. And so I got out of this country, the home country, whatever you could call that, where I grew up, got out of the marriage. Then I started to then be acquainted with myself, and that was like in my late 30s.
Awesome.
It was I'm so grateful for that. And that's but then that is also like the beginning of my life, right? Because then I finally got to do what I really want, right? And from there I build a relationship with myself. And because I have strengthened that relationship with myself, I started to then have good relationships with other people around me and attract people who also are trying to heal or have good relationship with themselves, so that we can play in our wholeness instead of like in our neediness, right? Because of our trauma response. So that's my peace of mind. That's transparent.
I love. Let me tell you something. When you just said that we have to work on ourselves, and become whole within ourselves, and love on ourselves, and get to know ourselves, and accept ourselves, and work on ourselves, that's where it started with, Jenny. And because we were kids, let me tell you something, and I tell people this. They conditioned us to look for God on the outside.
Mm.
So we were conditioned to seek validation on the outside instead of understanding that God is within us, in us, through us, as us.
That's beautiful.
So from the beginning, that's the reason why we dealt with this emptiness, this void. We didn't even realize that I can't give you nothing I'm not giving myself.
That's it.
I can't if I don't know how to be a friend to myself, how am I gonna be friends to you? Yesterday well, it was Valentine's Day. The Miley Cyrus songs. I give me flowers. She said I can hold my hand. She said I write my name in the sand. I love that song. It's about loving self. You know, she wrote that song about loving self. I'm trying to bring it up because that's what we need to do as people. And that's what I discovered. Just think if everybody in the world truly loved themselves, expressed themselves, be themselves, was true with themselves, and everybody understood that the power in choice. If I'm being true to you and you're being true to me, then I know that there's power in my choice. You know that there's power in your choice. Do you know how the world would be if everybody realized that it starts with self-love? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to manipulate you. I'm not going to try to fit in. I'm not afraid of rejection. And I'm just being myself. Well, Jenny, you got a choice if you want to deal with me. And then Jenny knows, well, I love myself, Yolanda. I'm being myself. I'm not trying to fit in with you. Well, Yolanda got a choice if she want to deal with Jenny.
Mm-hmm. Because the only place that you need to fit in is in yourself.
In yourself.
Exactly.
Because guess what? That's when you're dealing with the little voice in your head that nobody hears. Haven't you noticed when you're not real and true, and when you don't do something that you know you said you were going to do, how the little voice in your head, Jenny, now you know you said you were going to do that. And so that's what happens when we're not real and genuine with ourselves. We're able to go out in the world, and other people in the world, we gravitate to the distractions, to the chaos, to the discord, because we got this going on in our own head. Like, you know, I'm very transparent. My house flooded December the 26th, and I'm going through a remodel, and I've been sleeping in different beds. That's not my bed. I hadn't been going to the gym. I've been eating fast food. I feel like this morning I woke up. I feel like crap. Like, for real. I feel horrible because I get up in the morning, I go to the gym, I have a case of water by my bed. Like, before I get out the bed, I drink me about 2 bottles of water while I'm sitting there listening to my spiritual word. Like, I have not been doing it. And this morning, like today, I felt just like crying, just like, just like irritated, frustrated, aggravated. But guess what? It's not with anybody. This is about me.
Mm-hmm. Always about you.
And being real with myself. Like I tell people, I'm real with myself. I deal with myself. You know, I don't worry about nobody else, because just dealing with this little voice in my head that nobody hears, making sure that I follow and carry out the things that I've established for the values of who I am, the principles I've established for myself, my own life mission. Like, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is we're struggling with what was conditioned in us, right? Versus to that version that we want to be. Everybody got that version that they want to be. Everybody struggles with, man, I know I need to do that. Man, you know you're supposed to be doing that. But you know that way we were conditioned, that's that default. We struggling with it. But they call it God, and they call it the devil. No. See, we were born into the sin. That was conditioning us that had nothing to do with us. Because just think if we were taught from a child that we could do all things. Just think if we were sat down as a child and they told us, well, you're getting ready to go in the world, Jenny. And the world is going to be a dark place. People going to criticize you. They're going to condemn you. You know, you may experience some hurt. You may experience some disappointment. You may get violated. You may get betrayed. You know, just think if we were conditioned, but instead of being told you just a sinner, no. God said he made me. I was made in his own image. So I wasn't born no sinner. I was born into the sin. I was born into, because when you look at a child, people say they want to see God. Look at a baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, how could you call that as a sinner? Like, you're born with sin. It's like, no, that is an extension of God. All of us are, right? But then in order for us, like, to be controlled, that's it. Like, suppressing your self-esteem by telling that you're not worthy, by telling that you're such a sinner. And then, okay, and you kind of like recoil, right, corner, and be controlled. So yeah, I completely that was definitely my experience. But you know what, like, with everything that I mentioned earlier, completely, that's my life story, pretty much. That's how similar we are. Right? But then, you know what, another thing that I also realized is that whatever darkness that we're in, all these experiences, all these hardships that we went through, that I have learned is an invitation to get to the other side. Right. So it's like me being me growing up in an environment that was suppressing my true self, my desires, who I really am. It was like, and I was not able to just be, right. But then I worked myself into a place, like right now where I am, I fulfilled that invitation. Right, to be in place right now. I'm in okay, like, maybe I am one of the face of America, right? Being here, I've made my home. My friends are my home. I'm accepted for who I am, and I'm appreciated for my work, and how I express myself, and how I, rather than how I fit in a society, right? How I could fit in a box, because that's pretty much how I grew up, right? Like, if I got out of the box, I'm being shamed and beaten back in there. And like right now, people actually appreciate me for saying my thoughts, right? And you know what? That's like the best place to be authentic. And like, right now, like with you, I'm sitting here with you, and I'm just so grateful. And so that's why I thought, okay, whatever darkness that you're in, right? There is a lesson there. It's taking you somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the question that we need to ask. Where are you taking me? What are you trying to teach me?
Right.
And it might take a week. It might take a year. It might take 10 years. But you will be there where you're meant to be. And I feel like I'm meant here to express that to you and your audience and whoever is listening. Right?
Yeah. Yes. And that's, I'm listening to this audiobook, the key to, what is it? The Key to Life. And in this book, it talks about how our perception, let me just break it down. Our perception is everything. Our subconscious mind is what starts our image and how we see things, right? Because our subconscious mind is what programs what we go out in the world and look for. And you know how you were saying we go through these things in life, and when we're going through these things, if we look at it and say, what lesson it is for me to learn? What good is it for me to learn out of this? And that's how I've started applying things. I don't look at things as bad anymore or dark anymore. I look at it as, okay, this is a test. This is life, because you know this gonna happen. This is life. Okay, what is the good in this? What am I learning from this? Because see, I'm seeing everything positive now. I'm seeing everything positive. And then in this book, and I'll send it to you, Jenna, she talks about us resisting, resisting things within ourselves. It's like torment. And so, when we're struggling with our internal self and ready to live outside this box and be who we are, but we're resisting these things, it's tormenting us. So, I'm saying that to say that the our perception on how we see things, our subconscious mind on how we program and what these daily routines that you mentioned in your introduction, all of that programs us on what our perception, what our reality is going to be and how we see things. Like,
Very much, yeah. So, if you want me to expand a little more on that,
yes, yes.
So, how I reprogrammed myself, because, like just it's like every other others, and a lot of busy women, who wear different hats. We feel like everything is responsibility, right? We gotta wake up to take care of here, take care of that, because I can take care of everybody else. And then, like, by the end of the day, or maybe at the beginning of the day, we're already so depleted, but we still have this. We still assume the responsibility of taking care of everybody else. Right?
Everyone.
Exactly. And that seems to be like the subconscious, the unconscious story that's running in a lot of women. And I could see that my mother was like that. And, she was working so hard to take care of her children, right? But then of that, she was always exhausted. She was always tired. She was always stressed out. And it was creating a very unhealthy environment for us to grow up in, because, like when you're all angry, you're scared. Like they're all scared. Like, that's how I grew up. Like always walking on eggshells, right, in this negative environment, because your parents are always stressed out and always tired and exhausted. And that's who I was, and that's what caused, my life to crumble. And at some point, I got out of that. Then I realized that this is not working. This is not working out. I had a job I did not like. I hated that, and I was unhappy. And I just made a decision that I could not live like this, right? I mean, like for that, it was like, so much that, like me being depressed, suicidal thoughts, and all kinds of just like, okay, I don't know if I could, like, it was just painful. It was, heavy energy every time you wake up every morning. It's just so heavy, and you would like dragging yourself out, and it's like thinking, all responsibilities I have to carry in addition to this heaviness. It was and at some point I just made the decision to, what do I want really in my life? Like at some point, I just want to be free. I just want to be happier and be peace, right? And what really brought me to that was dancing, really, and just like moving my body to some favorite music, and I could just forget about things for a little bit and move around for a little bit. And you know what? It felt so much better. And so I decided to wake up 10 minutes earlier the next morning, so that I could just enjoy life for a little bit. But you know what? It was like 10 minutes. the 10 minutes that I woke up earlier for, I was so light, and that really uplifted my mood. So I went to work, and like, what you stress me out, it just didn't stress me as much anymore. Like, it wasn't that big of a anymore, right? Like, because my mood changed, my energy changed, and the way I saw things changed. And so the next day, I decided to just like, wake 10 minutes earlier just so I could dance for a little bit. And then it kind of, accumulated, like, okay, a few more minutes because I want to have more fun. And then 20 minutes. And then I add more things like, okay, maybe I could like challenge myself a little bit with like the challenging yoga pose, right? Because it's so much fun to be in touch with this part of me that likes challenges and grow, right? Because all of us are children who like playing and we like to have fun. We like to connect. We love fun, right? And grow and learning. And at some point, I just noticed that, you know what? I am such a different person because I'm much happier. And the job that I used to hate, like, I don't anymore because I started to ask myself, how can I make this fun? And then my relationships with the students, like, I'm still teaching in this inner city school in Hartford, Connecticut, and it's always like problems, right? Like they come from homes that are probably abusive, and there's like, environments plagued with gang violence and things like that. And they come to school with love that I could not give when I was exhausted and depleted. But because I took care of myself first, because I loved myself first, in the morning, I came to school having been loved, taken care of, and nourished. Then like everything just became so much more fun. I had and my relationships became better. The way I performed my job improved. Like instead of like working like paycheck, and it's like I'm gonna do my work and I'm gonna just go home. I actually ask myself how I can have fun here, right? How I can have fun with my students, so I can have fun doing my work. And so that's how my life changed. Then I came to this realization, you know what? It doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter where you are. When you're nourished and happy inside of you, you decide that you want to be happy and find ways to be happy. Like everywhere you are, you can be happy and you can spread that happiness around you.
Yeah.
Right? And it opens up new path for you. Like right now, because I'm on this path along of like healing and focusing on what makes me feel good, what makes me happy. And when you're happy, your heart is open, and you become creative, right? You're open to ideas and possibilities, right? And like right now, here I am speaking with you, speaking into your audience and helping other women.
Yes.
Morning routines, right? So that they too can be happier. And that's another thing too, right? Being a parent. I felt like, okay, before when I was like exhausted because of this conditioning, right? Like this country of like me having to work so hard and deplete myself to be so noble, right? For taking care of my family. I was emotionally unavailable for my child. Like I was tired. All I thought about was taking a nap. I was like, you want me to read you a book? Like I couldn't even open my eyes. This is like, no, I'm happier because I've taken care of myself. I have so much energy. I'm emotionally available. I'm physically available. Let's go out and play. Let's do all these things. I become a better parent.
Yes.
A better teacher, a better friend, everything, because I'm available for it, right? I'm available for life, and I'm available for anybody who needs help, like right now. Right? So, yeah, that's how it changed for me.
And it's awesome. I hear it. You say, hey, I had to take some time for myself. I had to start my day loving on me, doing something that I enjoy doing in that free space so that it could set the tone for the day. And what I discovered, because I mean, I'm very transparent about it. When we dance like that and we move in the morning, it releases endorphins and it gives us just a happy energy. And I can tell the difference inside. I have not been going to the gym, y'all. But I know I'm like, you got to get up, you got to go back in the gym. You can't have no excuses because I can tell the difference with my energy. I can tell the difference with my energy. I can tell the difference in my mood. And I'm grateful to talk to you about it today because you're putting those seeds in me to say, Yolanda, girl, we got to get up and we got to move in the morning time. We got to move.
You tell me to go to the gym tomorrow, that's not gonna work. I'm never gonna go to the gym because I don't like them. Like I don't like all the equipment anymore. Like it used to be like, but then I realized that it's just like, okay, that's what society told me. In order for me to be fit, I go to the gym. But what if you can be fit in your own home in the simplest way, the funnest way? It's dancing, right? You just like dance yourself silly, your body here and there, and like you try to get down to the limbo, like do whatever, right? Work your legs and your arms,
Right.
and I sweat like crazy doing that for 10 minutes. Okay, and you don't need the gym for that. I was like, okay, probably bad business for the gym right now, like I said that, but whatever. Like because what really is the priority for me is for me to have fun, for me to generate that energy of joy. Like I love doing this, and like it's so much fun. I want to do this longer. It's like, oh, it's already 10 minutes, but I want to do this a little longer.
Right.
It's like that because I don't know, like the difference between that and when I'm at the gym, it's like oh my god, like I'm running. It's only 10 minutes of running, like I just don't feel the fun, at the
Yeah,
gym.
when I go, they tell me at the gym when they don't see me, they miss me. Because I dance in the gym. I dance
That's so
in the club.
good.
So I have the music in my ears, and it's my club. I go to the club. People see me out at the grocery store, at restaurant. They like, you're the lady in the gym, because I dance in the gym. I dance. It's a club. It's like me going out. I put my headphones in my ear and I dance like nobody's watching. Or when I'm on the machine, when I'm lifting weights, I break it down and I just
Ooh.
have a good time.
I love your sister, girl.
Yeah, I call it Club Planet Fitness. That's what I call it, Club Planet Fitness. I go to the club early in the morning. My water be my drink. So I can just tell the difference since I hadn't been doing it. It's that me time for me. It's that me time for me.
Yeah.
Jenny, before we wrap it up, I ask all of my guests if you could have a conversation that you wish somebody would have had with you. What would that conversation be? That conversation as a child that you wish somebody would have with you, because this show come from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place, and the whole purpose is to encourage people to live a better quality life by not allowing society to condition them. So what would that conversation have been?
So if you have a trigger, right, or and that is definitely a sign that there is a child part of you that you need to connect with, and that means love. So love it, give it love, connect with it. And this is something that I've been doing repeatedly, really. It's like, the conversations that we were not allowed to have when we were a child because taboo, right? It was shame, right? And so that part of child is just like, buried somewhere. You didn't forget it, but then it just like goes up at, a trigger at some situation, right? That you don't like. But spend more time with yourself, spend more time with that child, and give it love. Just sit with yourself, And if you need to cry, cry. There's no shame, because we all need to accept every part of us, even the part that is ashamed, and love it, give it love, and that's how you heal. Yeah, that's at least that's from my journey, my own journey. But the biggest thing is really, it's so important to be kind to yourself and not beat up on yourself, because it's so easy because to criticize ourselves, right? To beat up on ourselves because we don't meet up certain standard. And I keep seeing that. It's like, oh damn it, I should have done this. It's like, oh, I was so stupid. Why didn't I do this? No, don't. Like let things flow the way it needs to flow. You are just like a channel for how the universe needs to flow, and let it be, and love yourself for doing that. Yeah, and so be kind to yourself. Don't beat up on yourself ever again. Yeah.
Real talk. Like, real talk. I mean, you said it. We have to love ourselves. We have to be kind to ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to allow life to flow. And these are things that we need to be aware of on this journey called life. You guys, thank you so much for another episode of Transparent Table Talk. This is a place where we speak about life from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place, because we are changing the world with these conversations to let people know you do not have to live in shame or blame. And you don't have to struggle with the little voice in your head that nobody hears by yourself. Train it. Become aware. Live intentional. Thank you so much again, Jenny,
You're so
for
welcome.
being a guest on our show. Jenny, I'm going to be reaching out to you because I am going to do a show. I want to do a special show with just all walks of life to show people that we all go through the same thing. You hear me?
Hey, like what you kept saying about that little voice in your head, I think we should all start making it louder. So what does that little voice in you say? Like, not good enough? Like,
Right.
you know what? I have this little voice in my head that says I'm not good enough. Like, you know what? If you tell me that, I can identify that in me too. And we can all call it out. And we
Right.
all tell it's not true.
That's not true. Right. Right. Right.
So
And see, the mind, Jenny, is the garden, right? That's what I've discovered. The mind is the garden, like the land. So, like you said, let's call it out, because what we'll be doing is we'll be planting new seeds. You are good enough. There's a song I wrote. I am love, I am joy, I am peace, I am laughter, I'm happy, yeah, yeah, yeah. I am love myself, know myself, be myself. I am peace, I believe, sow good seed, do good deed. I am laughter, living good, life is going as it should. I'm happy, yeah, yeah, yeah. I am joy, I enjoy all the moments in the memory. I'm alive, I'm gonna thrive, walk with stride, give good vibe. Be yourself, be your best, get prepared for each test. I'm happy, yeah, yeah, yeah. I have no shame, burn no blame. Thank God I'm not insane. So we have to speak goodness over ourselves. We have to get up every day and speak goodness. When people ask me, Yolanda, how are you? I said, I'm happy. They look at me. I said, I had to brainwash myself happy. We have to speak goodness. So when you hear those little voices in your head, all we have to do is train them. The same way you train yourself to get up and dance every day. we can talk about it because I know I go through it. I talk to myself. Like, no, Yolanda, we ain't gonna do that. The devil is alive. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. So look, inbox me. We can share phone numbers anytime you want to talk. I'm here. I'm here. Like, and I come from a vulnerable, transparent place. I mean, I have no shame. I can't do nothing but share my life with people because I'm so grateful that I've had this awakening and that I'm out here on this mission to talk about it. Because I wish somebody would have talked to me.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for your work, and thank you so much for this conversation. And yeah, that brought up a lot of things that had been silent with me that I couldn't talk about. And yeah, you're amazing. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you again, Jenny Lee. And you guys have a good night. Transparent Table Talk, and we're out. Bougiewild, 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 Bougiewild.